Okay, so there are some things that are bothering me about this Clancy case that people aren't really talking about as much as they are about all the other stuff. Now, according to the psychologist, the story that is told is that Lindsay heard an external male voice, and she only heard it one time during that day and lasting only for 18 minutes. What in the green goblin? But here's the part to get me. The voice was external. Now, I do know that under psychosis, it can be external, it can be internal. People experience it how they experience it, right? But there's something really strange about her only hearing it when he was in town and just during the time that he ran out for what should have taken about 20 minutes. It just happens to take longer for some reason. And then I remembered she has a baby. And then I also remember news stories about baby monitors being hacked. In fact, one of the team who executed the search warrant at the home, he seized a baby monitor and a Google Nest camera from an upstairs bedroom. So then I wondered if baby monitors could be hacked, could Google Nest? And wouldn't you know it, they can. In fact, you can use the Google Nest to talk to someone. But here's the funny thing about it. They both need Wi-Fi. If it's connected to Wi-Fi, it can be hacked. Now, I do have this other question too. Again, Lawler said he seized a baby monitor. There's no such thing as a baby monitor because if you have one, you got to have the second one in order to monitor the baby. So how is it that he only got a baby monitor and then a Google Nest camera? Even if all three kids were sharing the same room, the parents would need to have monitors for both of them. Was that seized? Now, mind you, I know that you can actually access them on your phone. And what's extremely interesting is that's what happened on that same day. You see, Lindsay's phone between 4:20 and 4:38 accessed the baby monitor, the Nest camera through phone Wi-Fi. Now, here's my supposition because this part of the story doesn't make any sense. I'm not talking about the prescriptions. I'm not talking about the external voice. I'm not even talking about the offing of the children. I am talking about what happened to Lindsay alone. Because doesn't it make sense for someone who's trying to take themselves out to do 4 methods of doing it in the space of 18 minutes or whatever time? Method 1, medicine. She had like 30 medicines or something prescribed to her over this period of just a few months, like 14 or something over the last 4 or something. However, these are the medicines that were found within her bloodstream. And according to research, none of these were at a level that would have offed her, but they are at a level, especially that one right there, that would have pretty much had her kind of tranquilized. The other interesting thing about that is that one right there is one that she had stopped taking. What's interesting about that is hubby dearest had the medicines she stopped taking in his truck. A truck that, according to the timeline given, was gone at a different store or something. Sure, she could have went in that truck at some point on her own and gotten it out.
The reason I had them in a bag is because sometimes a provider would adjust medications. So, for example, I do remember Lindsay had a prescription of Ativan, and then a few days later they wanted to increase the dosage because it wasn't effective. So what they would do is they would say, give that old prescription to your husband, he'll discard it.
I'm a nurse in Massachusetts. I live 6 minutes from their house, and that CVS is literally my home CVS. I've called that pharmacy numerous times in the past for my patients about prescriptions. When we increase a patient's prescription, we tell them, and the pharmacy tells them, because 9 times out of 10, the insurance is not going to pay for an entirely new prescription. We tell them to double up on their what they already have, or like use what they have.
But I don't quite think so. We're not going to get into the point that a nurse wouldn't necessarily crush pills and put them inside of a lemonade that apparently they didn't even have in the house.
Do you recall what she said about taking the pills, whether she took handfuls or did something else?
Oh, she did not say that she took handfuls. She did not describe the overdose.
It's just weird. And there is proof that she had stopped a lot of those medications. So really, she only had 4 that should have been in her system that she was taking. And let me tell you something. If you don't really have chemical depression, an antidepressant would make you have ideations. Trust me, antidepressants are overly prescribed for women because doctors don't understand hormone or other neurological things such as, I don't know, ADHD or lack of sleep. She didn't want to sleep train. He forced her to. She was still upset about not being able to continue breastfeeding. And trust me, that's crushing because that happened when I went back to work. She had 2 more children that had not yet met that autonomy age, and she had a husband who didn't know how to stay his ass home and help her. A husband who, in fact, refused all help for her, firing the nanny, telling his dad he didn't need her help, a whole bunch of stuff that just, whatever. Let's get back to the non-circumstantial stuff. Let's talk about this. Okay, so we're trying to say she took enough medicine to knock you out and leave you essentially immobile, while also having 3 children to take care of. And y'all saw that video when they went to that aquarium. That little 3-year-old, he stays busy, Dennis the Menace style. Now, for some reason, y'all think a woman who was pretty much tranquilized has the ability to wrestle a 3-nager and a 5-year-old and an 8-month-old. The 3 and the 5-year-old are old enough to know when something's really scary and something's happening that it's not right. So are you going to tell me they stayed in line? But let's get back to this. So 1 was medication. 2, you're going to say they did both of their wrists to the point of needing stitches, right? To the point of leaving a nice little puddle, right? And then said, you know what, that's not working fast enough. Let me do my neck, as if there's no pain happening with the wrist. And if you say, well, that's why she took the medicine to numb herself. Okay, if you have enough medicine to serve as almost a tranquilizer, are you going to be able to do your neck? All right. And then 4 is to be screaming in pain with your nerves, to walk towards the window, to move the bed, move the bed, open the window, and climb out of it. Now remember, she's saying 18 of those minutes she was hearing this external male voice. So let's look at the timeline. Okay, so let's say that Patrick did leave at 5:15. Now, immediately the voice starts. That's going to put us at 5:33. But at 5:33, he was calling her, right? According to this timeline. And I'm assuming they have him on camera making this phone call. Now, this is the timeline he gave. He said he left at 5:15. We're not even going to talk about the email. We are going to talk about the fact that 5:15 to 5:32 is 17 minutes. Houseway, it's a 3-minute drive. Then he's saying in 14 seconds, he was able to say, hey, they don't have that medicine. And she's supposed to go, well, just get the generic. Okay, I'll just get the generic. 14 seconds. Yet somehow he did come home with the medicine. The original one. All right, so 20 minutes later, he goes to the restaurant. But according to GPS, it's only 9 or 10 minutes away from there. So now we're missing about 9 or 10 minutes. Okay, I need to come back for a part 2 because there's something interesting about this that someone on here discovered. You tell me. It turns out those blowers at CVS, they can mimic a flight of stairs. Come back for part 2.